Live Fit Podcast, episode 70. Foresight is 2020.
What's it all about? I wanted them to think about what drives them, what motivates them, what steers their decisions, even the ones they don't recognize as being steered by this motivator. What will 2016 look like for you if you continue doing what you are doing? In other words, what is your almost certain year going to be like for you if nothing changes?
You're listening to the Live Fit Podcast with Glenn Johnson. Here, we'll talk about all things related to good health, fitness, food, fat loss, and the mind-body connection.
Yes, it is time once again for the Live Fit Podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. My name is Glenn Johnson. This is episode 70. I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and for the rest of us, of course, there is Festivus. I know this may be a little bit late because tomorrow is New Year's Eve, which is the official blowout of the year. But then we get into the cold, bleak winter for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere anyways. We will mark time with birthdays and assorted holidays with the increasing anticipation for summer. And before you know it, it will be the holiday season again and the end of another year. What will your life look like 1 year from today? 2 years ago, I published a podcast episode, number 7, called How to Make a Time Machine. It was my way of helping you relive your year by taking a look back and making note of the special times. It is also a method to improve your future year by making sure you don't repeat mistakes. Today, I'm going to use the same analogy of a time machine, but approach it a little bit differently. Every year during the week between Christmas and New Year's Day, I clean out my office. This includes drawers and shelves and walls and the floor, and most importantly, my 4-month at-a-glance wall calendar. When I pulled the old one down, I look through the months and reminisce about what I did and didn't do. I have trips and birthdays and holidays and meetings and podcast episodes and articles I've published. And most importantly, for today's episodes, I have goals and milestones listed on this annual calendar. I evaluate what I did and what I set out to do. Your annual calendar is an amazing tool to help you get a grip on the big picture of your year. It'll help you slow down as you remember the things you did, and it can help you plan your future. My time machine will give you 2020 vision into your future. So listen closely if you want to have the best year you've ever had, and you will be able to check off those things that are holding you back. And you will be able to live healthy, fit, and free for life.
What's it all about? I asked my newsletter subscribers this question a couple weeks ago. I wanted them to think about what drives them, what motivates them, what steers their decisions, even the ones they don't recognize as being steered by this motivator. So what's it all about? The answer that came to your mind before the answer that came to your mouth is probably the true one and the one that steers your thoughts and actions. You may or may not have been aware of this pull, but it's there. Put that answer aside for now. We'll need it later. I'm going to give you 4 steps or exercises to help you create your goals or changes that will help you live a better life. I'm going to give you several things to do in this episode that will probably be easiest if you are at home or in an office and can write things down. But if you're out and about and you have me in your ear, please continue listening as this will act as a preview and you can hear the exercises before you do them. I have a complete transcript available at livefitpodcast.com, episode 70. Let's start by looking forward. I'm going to begin by asking you to write. What will 2016 look like for you if you continue doing what you are doing? In other words, what is your almost certain year going to be like for you if nothing changes? Take your time and be as detailed as possible. Use paper or a computer, whichever allows for the best flow of ideas. Don't worry about spelling or punctuation, but you have to be honest and please be expressive. Pause this while you write. I'll wait. Okay, you finished? Let's move on. Now I want you to look at yourself in a mirror. This is your second step. Now's the time of year to really take a good look at yourself. Are you satisfied with the way the past year went for you? If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? I'd like to take this perspective for 2016 before it's too late. To do this, I want you to trace your past year. Pull out your calendar and look at last January. Did you have a New Year's resolution or a goal for 2015? What was it? Were you successful? Why or why not? Did you fail? Why or why not? Or did you fall somewhere in between and achieve mediocrity? Think about your actions and the choices you made. I find that most people live their lives like a pinball in a pinball machine. They bounce from bumper to bumper and try to stay out of the hole for as long as possible. They get up and follow their routines and patterns day after day, even if those routines are not leading them in the direction they want to go. Are you going to live by fiat and just let things happen to you, or are you going to make your life better? Think of the things you just wrote about your almost certain future. Are you happy with it, or would you like it to be better? We all get caught up in our day-to-day and hour-to-hour lives. This is understandable because it is really hard to see the entire forest when you're standing in the middle of it. So I want you to look over your calendar. This will allow you to see the entire year and narrow your focus to a month or a day. Number 3, it's time to look back using your rearview mirror. Here's what I'd like to do next. Grab a big piece of paper or perhaps an Excel spreadsheet if you are comfortable with that. At the top, I want you to write all the months in order. Under each month, you're going to write the notable things that happened that are of significance. Some suggestions would be goals and milestones you set and the successes you had or didn't have. Vacations, big purchases, any significance at your job, such as promotions, demotions, transfers, etc. Compile all these things in the columns below the month so you have a summary of your year right in front of you. If you are not successful at reaching a goal, decide why not. With your calendar in front of you, many things will become obvious. Time is most people's excuse for not accomplishing what they set out to do, yet people tend to make time for what they want to have time for. So let's not use that tired excuse, okay? We're going to make time for the things we need to do, such as accomplishing the goals that you're deciding today that are important to you. While doing this, it's important to be honest. If you want to improve your life in some way, you must be able to face your shortcomings and find a way to keep them from ruling you. Please keep in mind that none of this is intended to belittle or demotivate you. Quite the opposite, in fact. By taking an honest look at your strengths and weaknesses, and by changing your approach to goal attainment, if you've been unsuccessful in the past, you will greatly improve your chances of reaching and maintaining your goals using this method. Number 4, this is where you're going to establish your goals. Now that you have your past year at a glance, and you've accepted your strengths and weaknesses, I want you to recall your answer to my original question. What's it all about? Keep this in mind as you write out your goals. This is your true motivator and will probably steer you whether you are thinking about it or not. Let's move forward and set some goals. I want to help you set yourself up for success. This is why it is important to do this examination of your past abilities at achieving and maintaining a goal. If you don't accept your past behaviors, you will be bound to repeat it. Let me repeat that. If you don't accept your past behaviors, you will be bound to repeat it. You can set a goal for anything. And they can be process or results-oriented. With a process goal, the main objective is usually a behavior change of some sort. The goal is the process or the establishment of a regular habit or response that is different from your normal way of being. Examples of a process goal are, brushing your teeth every night before bed, if you don't normally do that. Going to the gym on a regular predetermined schedule. Or perhaps not eating French fries with your burger if that's something you normally do. Setting up a new habit is a process goal, regardless of what it is. A results goal is the typical type of goal that most people think of when they hear the word goal, unless they're at a soccer game. Examples of this would be losing a certain amount of weight, saving a certain amount of money, passing a biology class. Let me give you another example using the biology class. If you want to pass a biology class, you could actually have two types of goals. You could have a process goal to study biology for an hour every day with the results goal of passing biology class. The main difference is that a process goal will get you there, even though there is not established, while a results goal generally doesn't care how you get there as long as you get there. A process goal can set good habits, and this is why a process goal is my preferred type of goal when I'm working with clients. I want you to think of these different types of goals during this next exercise and select one or both as you write down your goals. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to make 4 lists. Please feel free to pause when you need to. I'd like you to first write down everything you want to improve, every single goal, whether it's a process or a results goal that you have. You want to be stronger, you want to be thinner, you want to eat better, you want to make more money, whatever it might be, write it all down, everything. Take your time. Second, I want you to write a second list that prioritizes this first one, putting the most important things to you at the very top of the list and the least important at the bottom of the list. Now comes the hard part. I want you to write a third list. I want you to put these in order of the goals that you have the best chance of accomplishing. Be brutally honest. You're going to put them in order according to how likely you are to accomplish them, not necessarily the easiest. And finally, your fourth list is going to compare the last two. So you're going to compare list 2 with 3. And anything you have in the top 5 that are the same. So let's say lose 5 pounds was on both lists and it's in the top 5 or maybe 6. I want you to write that down on your fourth list. Any goals that you had that are the same in the top 5, maybe 6 or 7, depending on your list. Write those down. Those are going to be the goals you work on this coming up year. Now, you're going to select which one you're going to focus on first and which order you work on those, but those are the ones I recommend you work on. Pick one. Pick one and only one to work on. You're going to focus on this one goal before you focus on any of the others. So pick the one that's most important to you out of those 2, 3, 4 that you selected, and you're going to focus on that one. You're not going to touch another one until this one is complete. Try to give adequate attention and resources. If you split your attention and resources to more than one goal, that is what's called a design for failure. So pick one for now, just one. You can work on another one after you complete this first one. Which one should you choose? The easiest one or the hardest one? I'm going to leave that up to you, but I am going to make some recommendations. Starting small and easy will allow you to build momentum and confidence. Starting with a process goal will also help you establish a good habit, which certainly could lead to a results goal. Tackling something big and consuming and long-term may be too much for you right now and may not end well. This is why I like using stepping goals to reach larger, harder challenges. Let me explain what a stepping goal is. Think of it this way. If you're on the first floor of a house and you want to get to the second floor, how are you going to get there? Are you going to jump? I don't think so. Because no amount of training or wishing or hoping or praying or positive thoughts will allow you to jump 10 to 12, maybe 14 feet up to the second floor of a house. But if you take the stairs 1 or maybe even 2 at a time, you will get there eventually. I want you to look at the large goals and think of the steps that you can take to get to the top of that goal. I have a stepping goal worksheet on the show notes page for this episode. If you go to livefitpodcast.com, go to episode 70, you'll be able to download this worksheet for free. But I want you to think your goal through to the end and what it will take to accomplish it. Make an educated and practical choice, not a romantic one. You make the call. I've taken you this far. I want you to make a good decision with this. Now, it doesn't mean, none of this means that your goal will be easy. You will have to keep your mind focused on this one goal. You will have to show integrity and perseverance, even when you don't want to. You will have to keep your goal, and most importantly, the process for achieving your goal, ever present in your mind. You will have to set your mind on this accomplishment. But let me tell you this, it will take energy and attention at first, but you know what? It won't take as much after a while. You'll fall into a rhythm and a pattern. As your mindset shifts into your new pattern, your new behavior, it will become so much easier. So if it's really hard at first, please don't give up right away. Push through, push through, push through. There will be a dip somewhere in the middle, I assure you. You'll want to quit. You'll think that you can't do it. The light at the end of the tunnel seems really dim. This new goal is no longer fun and new and exciting. You're just going to want to give up and say, never mind, it's not worth it. But listen, if you're writing it down now and you're listening to everything I'm saying and you follow through with my advice, it's worth it. It is. If you're putting this much effort into it now, it's worth it later. If the goal is important enough to do all this to, it is important enough to follow through until the end, until success. So let's use our mental time machine to jump into the future 1 year from today. Where will you be physically, emotionally, or spiritually? Picture yourself doing the exact same exercise of looking over your calendar, mapping out your summary of the year, looking over the goals you set for yourself today, and then evaluating them. How did you do? Ask yourself this important question. What could I have done better? Anything? Granted, you don't know what will happen in the future. But if you take a look at your current lifestyle and job and habits, you can probably make a pretty good guess as to what you will do over the next year and where you'll be a year from today. There will certainly be the unforeseen, but I'd like you to focus on the predictable, the foreseen. You know what your life is like. You know some of the things that get in the way. I don't want you to be an ostrich burying your head in the sand to things that might happen and disrupt your path to perfection. This is the time to acknowledge your probable, almost certain future 1 year from today if you keep doing what you're doing or if you make these changes that you're laying out right now. There will be obstacles. I want you to plan ahead. Have a contingency for many different obstacles. An example of this would be keeping a spare set of workout clothes in your trunk. So when you go to the gym and you forgot your gym bag, you can still work out. Or maybe having a workout you do at home. Maybe going for a run instead of the gym will work. Something is going to come up and get in your way, but I want you to just sidestep it, bounce around it, leap over it. Whatever it takes, keep moving forward. So now that you have the image in your head of your life 1 year from today, you can now jump back to present day, today, and make a plan to steer the course you need for the result that you want. Not the one that accidentally will fall into your lap like a pinball. Be proactive. What's it all about for me? It's about doing my best to be my best, looking within and making corrections. Nobody's perfect. What would perfect look like anyways? But I and you can be better. We can be better than we have been. My dad once said, it's okay to make a mistake as long as you learn from it. And I completely agree. I subscribe to the scientific method and view each mistake and failure as a learning opportunity and a foundation to my knowledge. When I learn how to do something, I also like to learn how to not do it. This knowledge gives me the foundation and security to know what is right and why, and what is wrong and why. This is also why I prefer working with people that are over the age of 40. They tend to be more realistic. There's a downside, though, is they often have limiting beliefs on what they think they can't do. But I can help with that. Learn from your mistakes and grow. Focus on that one thing you want to change, no matter how long it takes. If you accomplish one goal all year, that's a success. If you manage to change 2 or 3 behaviors, that is exceptional, but I don't want you to go into this thinking that you can do that. Just wait and see. Focus on that one thing, then move on to the second. So my goals for this year are to continue my push to convert 1 million people to a fit and healthy lifestyle who are not currently on that path. I plan to do this by producing the best and most helpful content in my podcasts and articles, to constantly improve my programs, to increase my knowledge and hone my craft. I'm going to continue my education in coaching, behavior change, nutrition, and weight loss. You can help me with my goal to convert 1 million people. Simply by sharing this podcast, my articles, telling your friends, convince them, teach them anything that you learn here. Let them see that good health and fitness is not hard. It's not a prison sentence. It really isn't. You can have fun and enjoy life and eat healthy foods with the occasional junk food thrown in there and holidays, etc. So let's make 2016 our best year yet. What do you think? You with me? I'm going to end this episode with a quote from A.A. Milne by way of Winnie the Pooh. Pay attention to where you are going, because without meaning, you might get nowhere. Now, go get 'em.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Live Fit podcast. Please keep those reviews coming in iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can subscribe, read show notes, articles, resources, and learn more about the weight management programs at livefitpodcast.com.